Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. The month of April is designated as Sexual Assault Awareness Month for people around the world. There are calls to raise awareness in communities, particularly for victims of sexual assault. Some of the key campaign aims are to encourage survivors to regain their confidence. Joining us now is Glennie, who is the founder of Tears Foundation. Mara, very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, an important month, April is, because we know that it's designated as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. What kind of issues and discussions need to come to the forefront during this month?
Thank you. I think the very important thing is that we have to realize that abuse and rape can happen to anyone, anywhere. It doesn't depend on your social class or where you live. It can happen to you and to anyone, anywhere. The next thing I would like to mention is that as children, we were often taught that we need to have stranger danger. And the fact is, less than 6% of crimes are by strangers. So what we have to do is know that within your existing circle, be it your church, your family, your school, the possibility is that any kind of person who would do that would be in your immediate circle and be known to you.
And we know that in releasing the 2022-23 third quarter crime statistics, Police Minister Glennie revealed some shocking revelations that between October and December of 2022, South Africa recorded an alarming 5,935 rape incidents, which really speaks to the many messages and the educational, communication that needs to take place. What are the distinctions in educating and learning and trying to really get to the crux, to the solutions around sexual violence, sexual assault, and sexual harassment? Surely those three are not the same thing.
They're not the same thing. You're quite correct. I think the difficulty really is that we, as advocates against gender-based violence in every form, we actually believe that, sadly, that figure is understated, because it is our belief, along with other people in this field, that only 1 in 25 rapes are reported. And if you look at that as the true number, as we do, one can only put your head in your hands and say our country really needs to change. And what do we see? What do we think changes? Changes about education. And because I believe so ardently in that, because I'm a survivor and I know how hard it is to get back up. And I have started a service where educational information is available to people on their mobile phones, because education is the priority.
Absolutely. What do you believe are some of the misconceptions around issues such as consent and the different types of abuse, the different types of sexual offences?
Well, I do think that one of the big problems is that because of the societal norms and because of the situations that happen, women or victims tend to blame themselves. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have been there. I shouldn't have done that. And that unfortunate stereotype is reinforced because when you go to the police, they'll ask you what were you doing, what were you wearing, and all the other stereotypes we know about. So what we have to understand that rape and abuse is never the victim's fault. Never, ever. Nothing can ever justify that. The second thing is, if you were drunk or stoned and you were raped, it is still not your fault. And those are the things that also put off people reporting their rapes because they're fearful they won't be believed. So we need to develop a culture in society where when someone says they have been abused or raped, we actually take action. Because if they are not telling the truth, it will soon be ascertained. So err rather on the side of believing the survivor.
Yeah.
We have a society of not believing.
Absolutely, we do indeed. As you and I speak, murderer, rapist Thabo Bester has been rearrested in Tanzania. And, of course, the weeks that he was on the run brought in a lot of fear within the victims that, of course, were wondering whether or not they'd be attacked by him because nobody knew where he was. What would you say to the victims of Thabo Bester and of rape in general, as we try and perhaps educate and bring in some comfort to those who've been violated in such a manner?
Well, to Thabo Bester's victims, they actually had a second rape by the media. And I don't mean the media was unkind to them, but just the very exposure of their cases taking front pages was absolutely horrific. And they must have lived in fear that he would come and find them. And that's a disgusting situation, because rape perpetrators should not be in a situation where they can actually get out of jail in any way whatsoever, because it's not just him that gets out of jail. It is also that our sentences are too lenient, and sometimes because of the backlog in the DNA, which is 2.5 years, those rapists are still on the street. And the person is having the same experiences Thabo's victims had. You don't know if the rapist is going to come for you. So we have a very shattered societal action against the perpetrators of rape, and very poor assistance for survivors of rape and abuse.
Yeah. How can this assistance be improved? I mean, especially having to go into a police station and speak to someone about it, that in itself could be very discouraging.
It's extremely difficult. I know it took me years to speak out, because you live with the fear of people not believing you, but you also live with the fear that they will disrespect you.
Mara, you were still explaining about some of the difficulties in reporting rape.
Yes, thank you. Even the Minister of Police has told police persons that they should not tell a woman to go back to her abuser and sort it out. It's a family matter. So we have to really have an attitude of, we believe you, how can we help you?
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Let's perhaps leave it there for now. Thank you for your time and sharing your story. Mara Glennie, Tears Foundation founder, speaking as April is designated as Sexual Assault Awareness Month.